on, people? So I know this is somewhat of a lengthy video. I'm not really sure what I'm going to title it just yet, but when this video, if you're watching it, it's going to be titled something good. I wanted to share with you guys today something very, 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 very valuable, and something that I feel just will be very of value to you in a way of motivation, inspiration, and just I just definitely don't rewind through it and watch as much of it as possible, because every second in this video is going to be my heart and soul poured into this, and I just feel like this will help a lot of people, and so that's why I wanted to share it, because that is what I'm here to do. I'm here to help people, and that is exactly what I hope that this video does, because that's my intentions. And so pretty much going to share my story from what I come from. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. If you're a new subscriber, hi. If you're loyal, love you guys. Love the new ones too. Just want to share my life story with you and what I've come from, and just everything that's led up to the point of where I am at today. You know, how I am an entrepreneur, I am an influencer on Instagram, motivational / fitness, I would say, and how I have a YouTube channel and all that stuff. So this is my story, and there's a lot of hardship in it and a lot of growth, and I just feel that you're going to get a lot out of what I have to say. So without further ado. So anyways, a few days ago I made a post, and for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for subscribing. For those of you who are my loyals, I love you guys a ton. And I basically posted something on my Instagram, and I pretty much was completely transparent about my past and my life, and we all have our stories. And it was not until a few years ago where I was able to really be at peace with how I was raised, my childhood, because it definitely wasn't the easiest. And so anyways, for those of you who don't know what I've come from, I grew up pretty much raising myself, essentially. I was out by the time I was like 13. And my parents had a very, very verbally abusive relationship. So I witnessed that all through growing up, and I thought that was normal, and sometimes it was even physical. But both of them coming from intense backgrounds as well, they actually did pretty decent for what they kind of knew as normal as well. They both had broken backgrounds, families, upbringing. And so I witnessed that for a lot of years, and I picked up really bad habits, like being verbally abusive in my own relationships with men. I was very, very codependent, because it was also something that I learned, a habit that I took on. So that being there as well. And then my mom, bless her heart, she loves me to death. She would do anything for her kids, but she has always dealt with a severe drug issue. And so I was always aware of that. And as I got older and became more aware of the situation, I kind of realized how badly, of the extent that it was, because I was the youngest, so I was kind of like blind to it in the beginning in my family. And so anyways, with that, my dad was never ever really there for me emotionally, or financially, anything like that. So I had a lot of hurt and like just pain, and I never realized it, because I thought it was just normal, you know. I never really like compared my life to other people's. I thought how I was raised was normal, even though it's definitely not normal to go through what I've gone through. And so from there, I kind of lived with friends all throughout high school, and I picked up a very, very bad drinking problem. It wasn't until one day I was like having a conversation. I remember this vividly, in a room with two of my friends, and it was one of the friends that I was living with, who I'm very, very good friends with still to this day. She's pretty much like my sister. I was talking about it, and I'm like, yeah, like, I pretty much like black out all the time. And then my friend looked at me and was like, I've only blacked out like once. And then I was like, oh shit, like, that's not normal. What am I doing? Why am I blacking out every time I'm drinking? And then, and then there was a few times where I would get very, very, very emotional when I would drink, and I would call my dad, and I would like literally like try and like tell him to come over so I could fight him. And it was wild. It was crazy. And I was very young, so I was so lost, and I didn't know how to, like, what to do, where to go. I had nobody really to lean on. I had no one to kind of tell me, like, look, this is what you're going through. This is why you're acting out this way. This is why you drink the way you do. And I did a lot of soul searching, and I realized that it was because of my background of why I was drinking the way I was drinking. I was a very, very unhappy person, and I was kind of like, I was trying to hide it with everything that I was doing in my life, and obviously that just made it worse. And so then I ended up getting into a very, very verbally abusive relationship, and you can imagine that kind of person, me, this was me then, this is me now, what basically I had come from. And so I was so broken, and I was like, it just makes me like, I just remember how I felt, and I was like, I just was so lost, and I was so broken, and I was so hurt, and I got into a relationship that broke me down even more. So let alone did I have no self-value, no self-worth, but this person made me feel like I was a complete piece of shit. Like, I felt worthless. I felt ugly. I was insecure, the most insecure girl you'll ever meet, like going through their boyfriend's like Instagram, like, why'd you like this girl's picture? That was me not too long ago, hunty, like 4 or 5 years ago. It was crazy. And so I was just a very, very miserable, sad person. And I always had it within me to be better. And I knew that there was more to life than crying myself to sleep multiple times like I did in my relationship and feeling worthless. And I was just like, there's no way that I can continue living this way. Like, I just cannot continue living this way. There's better. Like, there has to be. And I feel like that's that breaking point for a lot of people who unfortunately take the other route and turn to drugs and like all that stuff. But I was like, fuck that. Like, I'm gonna overcome this. And so I did a lot of soul searching, and, really got to the core of why I was so insecure, and why just like I had no self-worth. And then obviously it tracked back to my childhood and stuff like that. And then I turned to fitness, and that was really where it laid a foundation for me to rebuild myself physically, rebuild myself mentally, because there's a huge mental aspect that actually goes into fitness as well. And it just makes you more confident as a person, when you achieve goals, when you stay committed. It feels good to have structure and be committed and make progress. And that's what fitness did for me. And it was a healthy outlet. It was a very healthy outlet, along with, I put in a lot of time conditioning my mind, just positive thinking, and like breaking the mold of what my circumstances I thought had made me. So long story short, let me just get back to this really fast. So that's my story. Long story short, I wrote down some points because I didn't want to leave anything out, because I feel like this is very valuable, and I hope that that you can relate. I mean, I don't hope, but if you do relate, I hope that this brings you some kind of like peace, because I've come from so much, and this is only the beginning for me, and that's what I've come from. And so basically, for those of you, if you have, what I want to say about that is that I've created a life for myself, and I'm not perfect day to day. I still question myself. I still doubt myself sometimes, like I'm human. But I never gave up, and I continually invested in myself for the better, with fitness, with self-help books, with, motivational speakers, somebody who I reference to, who I absolutely love, Tony Robbins, just a lot of people who kind of brought me out of like thinking that what my circumstances were was what I was, and that was the end of it, because that's so far from the truth. And so anyways, so what I want to say about that is that your past pains do not shape you, and there's a reason why your life has been the way that it is. Even if it's been very painful, I'm sorry. Believe me, I've been there after everything that I just said. But it's shaping you to do something in the future to help other people. And it took me a long time to be at peace with that in my own personal life. But I'm so grateful for like what I've gone through, because your story doesn't have to be your future, depending on if it was like bad circumstances. Like, it doesn't have to be your story doesn't have to make you who you are. If your story is something similar to mine, then you should use that story in a good way, meaning use it to inspire people, and use it to help people and motivate them and give them hope that there's so much more to life than letting your circumstances make you like turn to drugs, letting your circumstances make you depressed. Like, you have to break from that, and you have to fight for better for yourself mentally, physically, or else it's just going to eat you up, and it's gonna break you as a person. Hold on, wait, I'm getting too deep. So anyways, conditioning your mind to be better from what you've come from, break any kind of like bad habits that you've picked up. Like for me, it was like verbal abuse I picked up. I was very codependent on men. I looked for happiness in them, which I feel a lot of women nowadays, that's normal. Like, I'd probably say 90% of women that I meet, they look for happiness in something else, when it's like, it starts here, and that means that you have to do a lot of healing, and that's what I did. And I have my days, but I am so happy. And there was something more important to say. Oh, and even though it takes a lot of time, it took me years and years to heal mentally, just emotionally, my heart, I still have some healing to do. It's like years later, you know? But it's very hard to work at it, but you have to do it daily. And it's hard in the moment, but I promise you that if you never give up, and you know that there's better for you, and you could share your story with other people to help them, I think you should absolutely take every opportunity that you have to do that. And it's not easy to heal, and it takes a long time, but when you do, it's so much more worth it in the end. Because if you don't take initiative to heal from your past, you'll live a very miserable life. And I know, because I experienced it for like a good 3 years of just being very unhappy, and it fucking sucks. So yeah, what up? No, anyways, I didn't know that this was going to be that long, but there's so much value in this, I feel like, and don't victimize yourself to your story, but use it to inspire other people, to help them out of situations that they go through. Because there was a time where I felt like there was just no way of healing. There was no way of coming back from the very, 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 very dark place that I was in. And I just felt like I was just going under and under more and more, and it was just compiling. But here I am, and it's because I never gave up, and I stayed persistent in investing in the best for myself, mentally, physically, and, you know, in my faith and stuff like that. I know everyone has their different outlets, but yes, so that's why I'm here today in this camera right now. Say what up? And also, I just like, I went to church the other day. I am going to close this video. I went to church the other day, and that's something that kind of brings me peace and kind of just solidifies what I'm doing in my life is what I need to be doing. And yeah, it's just like sometimes I get so caught up in life and Instagram, content, YouTube, blah, blah, money, whatever. But really, at the core root of itself, like the reason why my life was the way it was is because I am meant to help people. I'm meant to help people. I'm meant to inspire people and change people's lives. And I know that that is my purpose. And so that's why I'm bringing you this video, because I just want you to know that you are a lot stronger than you think you are. And you could do it. And I did it. So if I could do it, you could do it. And I love you guys so, so much. And you are valuable and you're worth it. And don't allow yourself to live in circumstances that say different.